to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom, which is actually another special episode because we are at the 3-year mark of the podcast. So I have somebody on that I've been wanting on for a while, which is the person that helped me set up all the equipment, find out what to get, and basically start this for the 5 to 10 to 20 people that actually watch this thing. So his name is Joe Tinkham. Hi, Joe.
Hello, Kenneth W. Jameson. Kenneth
You're close. Well, you're missing something at the end.
Kenneth W. Jameson Jr.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, that's right. There's a junior in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there is, unfortunately. Anyway, so how are you doing, Joe? It's been a while. I haven't even seen you in person since last year.
Sometime last year, I think I stopped over when you had two somewhat brand new dogs.
Yes, but I think we saw each other again after that and did dinner or lunch when I asked you to go to WrestleMania.
I think that was. I think that was before I
You think that
stopped
was
over to your
before?
place.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, based on the subject matter of what we talked about, I'm gonna say it was before.
That's fair. That makes sense. I don't even remember. I'm down to one dog now. One of the dogs went to a buddy of mine's house, and so now I've just got the one dog, which is way less hectic. And now that dog has a yard, got all the attention in the world, and two little kids to play with. So yeah, she's over the moon.
Oh, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
always better being an only kid, right?
Well, it
I mean,
also helps that it's the buddy that does the podcast with us. So I get to hear updates and everything all the time and know that there are good people watching after the dog. But yeah, that happened back in November. So it's been like 6 months now with just one dog, which if you remember me back in when we worked together, which we'll get into in a second, that's what I had before. I had Jax for 10 years, one dog, which was great. Just one solo and was fine.
you're a one dog type of guy.
I am too. I like if I had the yard for it, I think that's probably also the issue. In town Waterville does not really, breed, let's have multiple dogs.
Do you favor female or male dogs? And no,
So
there's no joke coming with this, by the way.
no, no joke. No,
'Cause
so I favor male dogs just because I'm used to them. Every dog I've ever had have been male dogs, except for when I got both of these. And the only reason that I took both was because I wanted a boy, and they said all of the boys are gone. Here, look at this girl, and I was like, oh, she's adorable. Okay, I'll take her. And then the day before I was supposed to pick them up or her up, they're like, hey, the boy's available. So I'd already fallen in love with the girl, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'll take them both. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I went, "Yeah, I'll be stupid." Um,
yeah.
so took them both for 2 years, and then yeah, Lila went to my buddy's house. My plan is to reunite them for like a day this summer, and have them go visit each other and play around and see if they remember each other.
Same things happened with couples before. You've been like, yeah, I'm into the girl, but I'll take the boy too, right? I mean that I think that's happened a couple times
I
to
don't think
you.
that's ever happened. I know it's been offered, but I don't think it's ever happened.
That's right.
It's completely different. And we're getting off topic, Joe. Ah, um, but anyway, yeah, I've been wanting you on the podcast not only because we shoot the shit like this and laugh at dumb shit, but it is thanks to you that the podcast sounds as good as it does, and using the equipment that I have. Um, because, well, to get into it, you're a musician, or you're an aspiring musician, or a failed musician. What do we want to call you?
I mean, failure is a theme in my life, right? So no, so not to get philosophical, but like I don't believe in um art can be created with intent and art doesn't need an outcome, right? So like I was recently at an art gallery and because I dig things like that. And I was actually having this conversation where does it matter what the intent was? Um and I think yes, it matters what the intent is more than what the outcome is. So I do music. I've been in many bands starting when I was 16. I do mostly recording stuff, which is why I was so happy to help you with things. And even though I have less time for music than I ever did before, I'm actually halfway through doing the score for a an original score for a play, a musical. So, so I'm always doing different things related to music. But that was how I could help you and get you up and running. Because you said, "Joe, baby, fast track me. What have I got to do?"
It's almost exactly what I said verbatim. Was like, hey,
Hey,
yeah,
baby. There
Joe
was a
baby.
baby. There was a baby in there.
I
That,
maybe. But yeah, I reached out just because I was like, who would know about this type of stuff? And I didn't really know. I know friends that have kind of like started the podcast thing, but they didn't do it with like actual equipment. They just tried it out, see if they could do it, and then like after a few weeks, it just failed. And now I'm on year 3, and even though nobody's listening, we're still doing it because it more or less gives us an excuse to get away from everybody and just hang out for a couple hours with the guys and either talk about a new Marvel movie, TV show, do D&D, play some really weird board games like Kingdom Death, and anything else that we can come up with just for fun for a few hours every week. And it's just built into all of our schedules, so like everybody
yeah.
works around it, which is nice. Just gives us an excuse, and it's really hard now that we've been doing it 3 years for someone to be like, "Oh, what are you doing this night?" "Ah, just blow it off." Well, no, I've been, doing this for 3 years now. Nope, that time from like 7 to 9 on Thursdays is blocked off.
That's awesome. It gives you something to look forward to, and routines are good for us, right? Especially, I see a lot of gray in your beard, so especially as we start to get older, like you clearly are, um, being able to have those social connections is really important into your elder years.
It's
So
true,
that's good.
especially because I'm pretty sure my gray's been around for quite some time, and like all my other friends are now finally catching up. So it's not just me who looks distinguished now, even though I've looked distinguished in the hair since high school and the beard since late 20s, early 30s, where the gray just started coming and coming and coming. Just annoying.
I like that somebody has actually convinced you that distinguished is the appropriate word for that.
I'm fine with it. I looked very distinguished. People pay for the touch of gray up here, the little speckled. They pay for that. This shit just comes natural, Joe. Natural.
Well, you're rocking it, man. You're rocking it.
I try. I have my moments.
Honestly, you don't look a day over like 45 or so.
I accept that. I'm surprised it's not older. Uh, um, so yeah, so to get to where we know each other, you were my boss for a few years, and
Unfortunately, yeah.
fuck you. Unfortunately, I was a great employee that only gave you, I mean, a couple moments where it was like, why the hell am I managing him? But I think other than that, everything was fine.
Hey, KJ, I'm not your only boss. Maybe it'd be a good idea if you didn't call your other boss a bitch.
I didn't call her a bitch. I said I didn't like your email. It came off as bitchy. If anything, that's me being helpful. So helpful.
That was one of those moments that you're probably speaking of.
Oh, that's mostly the main moment. Besides for there was another one that I can't remember. Um, Although I don't even think that one was a big moment, but I remember I think it was Lee who got a hair across his ass about a 24/7 private pay case that I didn't respond to within 2 hours or 4 hours, but responded to within like 6 or 8. Or responded the next day or something, and he was very upset about it. So then you were upset about it, but not upset. More or less like, hey, Lee's getting a little testy. How about you go do this? It's like, okay, I will go do it. But yeah, the other one was the worst one. The one where did that and then came to your office like, hey, you're gonna get a call. Might have called Karen bitchy. Do you remember your words?
I I don't. What were they?
You can't do that. That's what you said. And I was like, good to know. And then immediately your phone rang and it was Karen.
I think most of the time that we spent together, I think of the pranks, because to this day I still show people. Actually, maybe a week ago, I pulled out my phone and showed somebody um, pictures of my naked cat. But then I showed them quickly afterwards. I showed them pictures of my office that was literally wrapped, every business card, every sheet of paper, every paper. I mean, it was just literally
Every
paperclip.
pen.
Like, every pen,
Yeah, yeah.
this door, my monitor, my chair, um, everything in there. And I showed that to somebody, and they were like, "How long did that take that guy?" And my only response was, "I don't know, but somehow I managed to tear my entire office down within 45 minutes because I didn't want to let him know how I didn't want to let on how much work it was to do. So I just like went crazy getting it all down because I figured the less if you'd seen me taking like 4 hours to get all that stuff down, it would have planted the seed with you. And that would have continued. So I was like, I got to get this taken care
So,
of as quickly as humanly possible.
so it's a good thought, but it wouldn't have continued. I like pranking multiple people. We do one, one, one type of thing. For the record, it took about 6 to 8 hours to do your entire office, and very glad that I had the code because I went in there after hours to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had time unless you were randomly out a day, and I would have had to literally take a vacation day to do your office, which wouldn't have been a good use of my time. To be fair, this probably wasn't a good use either, but it was hilarious to literally do everything in your office. And then the setup for it is great. There's the video that I post every year about it where your office is shut. So you just think the door is covered. And I think it was wrestling theme paper too. So it was, or Justin Bieber, something like that.
Justin Bieber. It was Bieber. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it was kind of like ha 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 ha, and then you open the door and your whole demeanor just it's a guttural laugh that I can't not laugh at when I watch it. Like it's one of those that I will laugh at it 100 times, even if I just watched it, because it's so funny, because it's so unexpected by you that of what you're seeing and you don't know how to comprehend it, and it's just your body laughing viscerally, and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I didn't know whether to curse you out or continue laughing. And I think I did both,
So you
actually.
started to curse and then saw that I was recording it and realized you were in the workspace. So you were like, okay, I can't really go off on him like I wanted to.
That's funny you remember that. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it's such a fun memory. Like there's a lot of bullshit that we dealt with at work. Um,
That's any job, right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
so you pick out the moments, and to be fair, you pick out the people. That make the job better, make it tolerable, that are funny, and that don't take themselves or the job that seriously, but still get everything done. Like there's a difference between not taking anything seriously and just not doing your job, or taking yourself seriously or take not taking the job seriously, but then still getting everything done. So you're not so I don't know, you don't want to kill yourself every day because you're just bored or whatever it is. There's ways to enjoy your job no matter what the job is, and some of that is your coworkers or bosses.
Yeah. Yeah. And we used to go out for drinks together, like people from the office down on the first floor, Calzaleo's. I, Speaking of pranks, the time that we decided to trap one of our coworkers' cars so that we could see her figuring out the look, the expression on her face, the confusion
There was
that
such
somehow I
confusion.
can't get into my vehicle because these two cars on either side have parked so close. Because you can see, okay, my driver's side, I can't, I probably could try. No, I can't get in there. All right, well, I'll just go around and I'll climb through the passenger. Wait a second. Why are these cars blocking me in so much? Like now I can't even get into my vehicle. And then this moment of like looking up as you're recording from the third floor down there, and she she looks up and sees us just laughing.
So part of
Because
that,
you always had to look around anytime something happened. Was part of the genius of what you did was you always had to look around because even sometimes it wasn't a prank. It would just be something going on, but you had to look around like, is this a prank?
well, so part of that too is I think because everybody realized how long that first one took to do your whole office, I don't think there was a limitation on what I might be able to do or take the time to do. Because then the other prank on Jen was her office being like, to be fair, that was a stupidly tall office, but it was like what a quarter of the way full of balloons. which was so many balloons. I wanted that thing filled, but
It was
it
so
was
good.
so big. And then
It was so good.
it was. And there's a video of her too, of her opening it and being like, "Oh my god, why are there so many balloons?" Um, and then when Mary left, that one wasn't too much of a prank, but like all this colored sticky notes and everything. Everything took time. Like the balloons one was kind of easy because I could just be home, blow up a bunch of balloons, put them in a bag, walk to the office, which was, a minute away, and then just dump them all and then do it again.
Yeah.
Yours took longer of being in there. But the one with the car was great just because when I talked to Jen about it, she's like, I walked out, I saw my side. I was like, that asshole parked too close to me. I don't know why. Fine, I'll just go the other side. And she walks the other side and sees the other car. And she's like, the fuck? The only way I'm going to be able to get in here is go through the back. So she walks to the back, is about to go through the back, and then goes, those sons of bitches, and then looks up. And that's when she sees us. Because she's like, I didn't want to be recorded going through the back to get into my driver's seat, which was great. And I would have
So
left her
good.
there. You were too nice. You went down and moved your car.
It was so good.
It was. Those are like, we had a ton of other times than that, whether it was with Fran or whether it was with Jen, of just laughing, talking, joking whenever we had free time. But those moments are the ones that stick out the most, of just funny, stupid stuff. I mean, look what we did for, which I don't remember if you participated or not, but the Halloween costume contest. We did Family Guy one year. We did the Grinch one year.
Oh, hold on. Did I participate? I was the most important person in the process, KJ.
The person that
You,
organized it or took the picture?
I was the person that took the picture. Without the picture, there's no winning team, baby. Now, I do want you to know that related to this topic, I do have a present for you that I have retrieved from the Care and Comfort days. And I will give it to you the next time that I see you.
Is this the traveling thing that we already talked about? Oh God, I never remember us ever getting that. Like
We got it. We got it.
Well, I know we got it now, but because you just took it. But I never remember that it like was traveling.
It did.
Like
it was out at reception for years.
Okay.
Yeah, on the cabinets behind reception where you could like go up there. Where all the paperwork was. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I wouldn't. My eyes would never go up there for something like that. I didn't care.
I don't know what to tell you, man. You're not observant. That's not my issue. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means you don't pay attention. Stop trying to blame this on somebody else. Oh, they didn't put it where I would have seen it. I would have put it somewhere else.
I also don't even remember.
You could have put it somewhere else.
I don't remember the point of it.
It went to the office that won that year.
Won what? The costume contest?
The Halloween costume. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even remember there was a trophy.
All right, well, I don't have it for you then.
I mean, I'll take it.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we didn't win the Family Guy, but we won the Grinch, right? That's the one year that we won was the Grinch.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was good. A lot of people participated. It was fun.
We won some other ones after you left as well.
Those weren't as good. We weren't as good. I wasn't there.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying we won. This wasn't a competition.
A dog, and I had a Grinch like prosthetic mask on my face. That's why we won. Just saying.
It was good. I mean, I'll give you props for that. I'll give you kudos. It was a good costume.
It was. Yeah. There was no reason that I should have done it. I could have just easily got a mask to put over the face or like a plastic one. I'm a little bit much, as you can tell by the fact that after I recorded one episode of the podcast, realized that me, Corey, and Mike could record for a little bit. I went, Joe, tell me the best stuff I can buy, and then bought it all for $1,500, and we got it. Is that
how much it costs? Really?
I think so. It's 4 microphones, 4 headsets, 4 microphone stands, the receiver. There was a couple other things too, like. Definitely wasn't cheap.
It's funny when it's somebody else's money. I just really don't care, right? So just told you what you get.
Now you sound like my other podcast people. They're like, you bent it. It's fine. Now we get to sound good.
Well, I remember coming over and setting it up. and so we started getting into it, and did the sort of mechanical setup of just making sure your microphones and your stands and actually hooking up the interface and things like that. But then sort of getting into, okay, but do you want to sound good, right? Um, and then so we spent some time like actually setting up like a chain of effects and whatnot, so you had some good compression and de-essing and things on your voices, so it would sound hopefully better than some of the other podcasts. Because I'll tell you, as a person who used to listen to a lot of podcasts, so many of them sound like they were recorded in somebody's basement with cement walls, and they're 12 feet away from the laptop that they're recording on, not even using a real microphone, right?
Yep.
So it was actually really fun to do that and just kind of go over and help you and get those things set up. And hopefully it's been pretty much set it and forget it for 3 years.
Yeah, the only thing I've had to do is I've had to adjust some levels because Corey talks very low, and Mike is the complete opposite, where he could be
Yep.
having a quiet conversation with you and his decibels are through the roof. So I've
Yep.
had to basically fix that for both of them. But other than that, and I think I played around with it once just to see if I could make it sound a certain way, and then I didn't like it, and I just deleted that additional track. But yeah, everything else has more or less been set and forget, which has been real nice. Even when I had to move everything around when we moved the podcast studio around. I had to move everything when we painted the podcast studio, and then just plug everything right back in, and everything's still saved on the template file for all the different settings we have. I've been using the specific one when you're compressing it, of like so that it sounds better, whatever it is, like 192 or whatever that is. I just have 192 stuck in my head because I know I go to it every single
Oh,
time.
you're talking about like bit depth and yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's been nice because otherwise I understand stuff, and if I took the time, I could probably understand this. But it was much easier not to have to take the time, and not to mention in the early going. First off, like we recorded our first episode just on my phone in like the second week of April, and then we recorded our actual first episode. I want to say in like the first week of May. So in that 2 to 3 week time frame, I ordered the stuff and planned a day for you to be able to stop by here and set everything up, and then from there be able to like text you or call you and be like, hey, this isn't working right, this something's going wrong with this, what could it be? It could be this, it could be that. And you were super helpful in the beginning. Not that you wouldn't be now, it's just I haven't needed it because everything's been working great, but you've been super helpful in the beginning of, okay, it's this is the problem, have you looked at this, here, use this. I think you even sent me some troubleshooting guides because something wasn't working right or picking up right. And any questions I had with like Cakewalk, which I still use today, you were great with being like, okay, so it's this and it's this and it's this, and you can adjust this here. But yeah, that's a big throwback to when we first started, the first couple months of trying to make sure everything sounds the right way. And then especially once we added on like the fourth person of the podcast, it was super easy just to duplicate the track, add a different wire, and be all set for it. Like that was, yeah, I don't know what I would have done. I would have been YouTubing videos and hoping for the best, but actually having somebody who's used the equipment that understands it from musician days, from recording it yourself in your own little studio at your house, super helpful. Super helpful.
Glad I could help, man. Most of my time has just been that I've known you, making fun of you and doing things to cause you misery and pain and agony and mental suffering. And so if I can do something occasionally that is actually helpful, my job here is done.
To be fair, it is weird when you are helpful. It's similar when I'm nice to people. People are like, what happened? Are you dying? Like what's going on? This is not the normal you, so what's happening here?
I may be a bit more helpful and empathetic in my old age.
Is that what it is? Okay. That's probably true.
Yeah. Hitting my mid 40s, and being sober, having alcohol out of it, the little things in life help to make you a little bit of
a little thing
person.
Cutting out alcohol is a little thing. All right.
I,
Yeah.
I I also happened upon divorce a couple times. You know
You
what I
did.
mean?
You also
So
happen upon a child.
I did happen upon a child. Yeah,
That sounds really weird when you say it like that. I happened upon a child out in the wilderness, and I was like, you know what?
yeah.
You're coming home with me.
And I took her in, as I
She
am
might have
wont to
been
do.
yours, but you took her
She,
in.
look, I could have left her outside. I've got a shed. Like, she sleeps inside. What's the big deal?
Oh, too funny. Too funny. Um, so in regards to Care and Comfort, which is then got bought out, I don't know how many years ago now.
Three.
Um, is it 3 years already?
Yep.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, you were the boss then, and then you're one of the few people I feel like I can. It's a very short amount of people that I still keep in contact with from Care and Comfort, which I feel like is normal. Everybody has like work friends where they make the day easier. Like I thought Jen made the day easier sometimes having conversation with her. Other times she made it more difficult. Same with Fran. Same with Mary. Same with Keith. A couple other people that were in the office at the time, but they were like work acquaintances, work friendships that I knew that when work ended, this ended. Would we still be cordial if we came in contact with another? Of course, but there's a difference. Um, and so it's like you, Tiffany, Corey, for the longest time, Heather, although I haven't talked to her in like 8 months. Um, and God, there's somebody else I'm forgetting, but I don't remember who. So apparently they're not that important. But it's very few and far between where like you have it's similar to being in school where you're around these people all the time. So you make some type of friendship, but when you're not around them all the time, you realize it wasn't a real friendship. And with you, it was definitely a real friendship. Whether you liked it or not, I made it a real friendship.
Oh, there so many jokes I could make, and some of them not even appropriate for this level of informal relationship. You did force yourself upon me in the friendship way. So, yeah, no, it was. I think you've often said so. I don't have a problem making this joke. I think it was you were putting down a cat.
Oh my God, that story.
You're putting down your cat,
Yep.
and because of course you've always got to find you've always got to find out who can I joke with, is this somebody I can joke with, and you having to go through genuinely for just 1 second, genuinely traumatic putting down a cat, right? I've had to do it a couple times. I know how much cat is a part of the family, but I also know that you and I sort of share this philosophy about things, which is if you can't joke about it, like if you can't make a joke about something, then why is it so sacred that you can't make a joke about it, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing that you and I put on a pedestal like that. And so I believe what I said was, how are you going to go back home and look at Jack's?
No,
And no,
no. So the story is that obviously the day before I went and got, I put down the cat. I came back to work the next day, and that was a Thursday. So I came back to work on a Friday, and I was heading to my buddy's house, Matt, who has a bunch of animals, a bunch of dogs, a bunch of cats, yada yada. And I was just like, yeah, it's gonna kind of suck because all the animals are gonna be there, and you were like, yeah, and they're gonna be looking at you like, why did you kill our friend? And the level of hurt on my face for about a half a second was probably the most hurt I've ever been in a non-relationship capacity. I was so much hurt for a half a second, and then it was just burst out laughter. Just burst out laughter. It was so good and bad at the same time.
and those are the good ones though, because they help you get over
Oh yeah.
some of that a little bit, right? Uh, in retrospect, maybe not the right time for the joke.
Oh no. I'm a person, I need 24 hours. If you give me 24 hours to grieve or to cry or whatever, and then I want the worst jokes there are. And you've been through that with your divorce, with the jokes came. I've
Which
been
one?
through that. Well, that's fair. I more or less meant the first one, but yeah, that's fair too. Um But then, like, I went through that with the ex fiance. Like, I needed the day, and then everybody can just hammer me with jokes, and they did, and it hurt. But in like, the more you laugh about it, the more you realize that you have to accept what life is. What are you gonna let it do? Just bury you? You're just gonna let it eat you alive? No, you're gonna laugh at it, make the jokes, realize the mistakes that you made, own them, and fix the situation for the future. But if you just sit in your own head about this stuff, which I absolutely would have. Anybody would after usually that any type of traumatic event or any type of emotional event that you go through, you're going to just replay it in your head over and over and over. And the best way to get out of that is joke. And it's one of the reasons I think I have the friends that I have because you know this and you're a little bit the same way. Maybe you're a little bit softened now with the kid, but we're both assholes and we make jokes and it's we're okay if you don't like us. It is what it is. And with that, I've gathered a group of friends that are all very similar in that sense. They might not go as far as I do, and they probably don't go as far as even you do, but they know that I'm gonna make jokes. They know I'm gonna laugh, and they know that I want them to do the same, given that like little bit of a cushion window to kind of like grieve and process. And then the only thing that I've found that helps me get through anything, which definitely a coping mechanism and all that nonsense, but is laughter. Laughter helps me get through any sad moment that I've ever had. So if you don't have that in those moments, even if it's a pet, whether it's a girl, whether it's whatever it is, it's better to have the laughter than silence and just stick in your own head. And then I can also go back to those moments now, the one about the cat, where now anytime like I had to put Jax down a few years ago, because he had cancer and that sucked and that was brutal for like it was brutal for a long time. But every time I thought about like being overly sad, I thought back, not to give you too much credit, but on your joke about the cat, of like it would make me smile when anytime that I got like overly sad. So kudos for that, for being an asshole.
Basically, what you're saying is I was so horrific that you still think about it to this day when you're traumatized, and it somehow makes you less traumatized.
Yeah. So there was another thing that happened to Karen Comfort that had nothing to do with trauma, but I remember, and I think I told you this years and years ago, but I was on the phone with somebody and they got me so upset that I don't think I've ever been that upset at somebody I didn't know before, where I cracked the receiver. Like I was holding it to my head and I cracked it because I squeezed my hand so hard. From that moment on, nothing bothered me. Like it didn't matter what anybody said, it didn't matter what anybody did. It is what it is. Here, you like it or you don't like it. If you want to be mad at me, you want to yell at me, have at it. It's not going to change anything. It's not the way it's going to work with me. Where if you yell at me, I go, "Oh, my bad. Here, let's solve this." Especially when it has nothing to do with me. But once you can get to that level of bad, or in that case, hurtness of the again that split second of hurt, it now will always stick in my head of I was so hurt by your comment, followed by the guttural laughter of just like this is stupidly funny.
Yeah. It's funny. That was your first like real job, right? I mean, you had run to your credit, you had run a home care company, but it was a family-based company,
Yes.
and your boundaries and your roles were incredibly
Yes.
enmeshed with other people, and they were
Yep.
unclear and all that. So,
Yep.
so I'm not to say you weren't doing the work, but this was your first work for air quotes the man sort of gig, right?
I mean, I worked for Sunday River for years, but like as a teenager and then growing up a bit, I worked for a convenience store. I worked for a debt collection agency. But it was my first role where I had.
Why weren't any of those on your resume?
They were.
I'm just
I need to put something on there. I can't
That's
just say
it. I'm going
worked for
back
my
and
mom.
fire. I'm going to go back and reverse that. We never hired you. You owe us back all that money.
Yeah, keep dreaming. Wasn't that much to begin with. So, yeah, it was the first role of doing like of having any like managing actual people that wasn't engrossed with my family. So it's a little bit different to have like that type of control over a situation of how things went and could go compared to the family aspect of it, where you tried to do something, but technically the person that owns the business is your mother, and she may or may not want to do things on a certain day because of whatever reason. So then you're like struggling with wanting to strangle her. But yeah, it was the first one like in an office setting, administrative, and doing that stuff. Yes.
And it set you on a trajectory of doing healthcare related or jobs on the peripheral of healthcare, right?
Yeah, never what I saw myself like it's if it even though I don't like what happened with the family company, if it wasn't for that, I never would have gone to Care and Comfort. And if it wasn't for Care and Comfort, I wouldn't have had the knowledge, the even more knowledge of the main care system in general to go work at Office of Main Care Services and Main Care, and be able to then work from there to get in the PR unit, to get promoted to the PI unit, to get promoted within the PI unit, to then get promoted as the provider enrollment manager. So yeah, there's definitely that trajectory was not on my cards at all. And then I think it also helped that when I went from the family company of helping to a company that, even though it had its flaws and there were some people I didn't like, a lot of the job I liked because it was figuring out a puzzle of like a Tetris thing of figuring out people's schedules. And then the people that worked there, the Jen, the Heather, the Tiffany, the Nikki, the Corey, the yada, 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 where it made the job easier. So I never got like annoyed at the job space itself, and I need to be done with this field type of thing. And if that would have happened, who knows where I would have ended up in a certain different industry or something. But because I enjoyed the people and because I enjoyed the work, it just helped me move to where I am now, which is, yeah, I've been at the state now 8 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
It's crazy to think it's been that long. I know you would have ended up like in adult films or something, but definitely behind the camera. You know what I mean?
probably.
Definitely behind the camera.
I would be their test audience. Is what are you talking about? I'd just be in the other room and be like, you know what? This is doing it for me. Yeah, keep going. Um, it's also funny to think because we only worked together for 4 years, and I've been gone
Yeah.
for double that. I've been gone for 8 now, 8 next month. Um, so yeah, it's definitely been a long time, and we've still, I mean, it's been 8 years, and we've kept in contact. Like we don't talk every day, we don't even talk every week or every month. Sometimes it all depends on what's going on in our lives, but still check in, make sure the other one's doing okay, help out if something's needed, and just shoot the shit. Especially if it's regards to something funny we saw, or if it's about wrestling or anything like that. Because I think that was one of the reasons. Besides that, you were funny. Besides, you had a very dark sense of humor, which I found out very quickly into us working together, which is a joke we won't repeat on camera. But it was very dark, and it's literally the joke that made me go, "Oh, we're gonna be fine. I can say whatever I want and do not have to worry about anything." Good. Um, go from that, and then learn that hey, you also liked or like wrestling, depending on what year it is. Um, was nice to be able to have that extra similarity to get to know somebody that I'm going to be working around for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to have things in common, right? It is funny too that you say it's been 8 years since you've been gone. You were there for 4 years. Um, I don't know the age of all the other guys that you do the podcast with, but I will say, not to sound like the old guy, but like my father always told me, and us kids used to be like, "Oh my God, Dad, stop, shut up." He always used to say like, "Oh, it just keeps going quicker and quicker, and the years go by like way faster than you can ever imagine, and it just keeps speeding up." And it's like, yeah, the past 8 years, um, wow. Like
Yeah,
I don't know where, I don't know where the last decade, I don't know where the last 13 years or so, I don't know where it went.
yeah, it definitely. I was just talking to somebody today, actually, that been like, "Hey, it's been 8 years." Like, I know my first one, two, three, maybe my first year I paid attention to it, but my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I do not think I even realized that this much time had passed. And it's probably because after a year and a half of being in one job, I switched to another, like got promoted. 6 months later, I got promoted, and then I was doing that for 3 years or something like that before getting promoted to this new job, which now I've been doing for almost 3 years. So even though I've stayed at the same place, it's kind of different. Like it's different roles within it. So in my head, I wasn't really processing it had been this long until I think last year and then definitely this year, being like, it has been a significant amount of time of not being where I was. And I remember carrying comfort, a lot of it like it was yesterday, and don't realize that like 8 years have gone by where I haven't been there.
So you've changed jobs within main care about every couple of years.
6 months or a year and a half, 6 months, 2.5. So yeah, like on average, about every
So, geez,
year or
those
so.
are those are longer than most of your relationships.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. So this is very much longer. Like I think my longest is like 2.5. Like it doesn't. I'm too much of a dick. Too much of a dick. Let's see how the new one goes. New one's going great right now. Let's see how long it takes me to fuck it up. I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen. You know this. How long have you had long stretches of relationships and then they imploded? So there's eventually like always I feel like some type of breaking point.
Well, in my defense, my first divorce was a result of me being an alcoholic. My second divorce basically happened because I got sober. So, the
damned if you do, damned if you don't, Joe.
those are two different things.
Yeah, sounds right.
What can I say? What can I say?
Yeah,
Life keeps throwing stuff at you. You just get back up.
that's always been my philosophy. And again, if you can take a little bit of time for yourself and then pull yourself up and have surround yourself with good people that will make jokes or be there for you. Like it's funny. I recently rewatched because I was showing the girl I'm with the roast I did of Corey last year. And in that, like I roast him for like 20, 25 minutes of just jokes, jokes, jokes. And at the end, I tell a story.
Did you glaze him before you roasted him, or did you glaze him after you
I
roasted
glazed
him?
him after.
Okay.
But well, speaking of that glazing, I made a comment about him being like a really good friend, and that like when everything happened with the ex-fiance, he came over and he didn't know what to do. He's not good with emotions. He doesn't know how to help, but he was just there.
He's gonna listen to this, right? I mean,
he's not gonna listen, and he already knows this. But it was one of those things where if he wasn't there, I still probably would have been fine, but it would have been more difficult because even though we weren't doing anything, we weren't talking about the situation. I wasn't crying on his shoulder or anything like that. He was just there as emotional support if I needed it, which again, that's about surrounding yourself with the right people. And if you can get through nearly anything, if not anything in this life, if you have people say friends and family, but fuck family in my opinion, just because it's all about the people you choose and you don't choose your family. Like you're born with them or into them, and that just puts you more. You're around them more, so you get to see what type of people they are. And there's friends, or excuse me, there's family that I have that I know that if we weren't family, I would not hang out with this person. And my friends, on the other hand, that's not the way because I chose them. So if you have the right friends around you that will call you out on your bullshit and then laugh about dumb things and then do fun stuff with and everything else that comes with a friendship, like most people I feel like can get through anything that the world throws at them. I know I have, even though we've all gotten depressed in our lives, like friends help with that shit.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
I have my moments again. They're few and far between.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. So.
That's true. That's true. That's good to know I'm blind. Was that like an eye joke because I'm wearing glasses? You dick. So I did want to talk to you about your start of liking wrestling. And the only reason I bring this up is because, again, I think it's what, besides for the dark humor, I think it's one of the things that brought us closer together as friends was because of that common interest. Once we had other stuff we could talk about and some things we disagreed on and we liked having that back and forth of disagreement. But then like with wrestling, it was always like, okay, I like the idea of it. Maybe I don't like the product that's in front of me right now, but I like the idea of it. So like my wrestling started, at least the earliest memory I have is like my dad watching it. How did you get into wrestling?
So, uh, as you know, my real love is 80s and early 90s uh, wrestling. That's the period, right? Like late 80s, early 90s. Chef's Kiss, beautiful, amazing. Um,
Is that because that's when you
I
were a kid?
Yeah, that's when I was a kid, and I think that's the period that I look back on, and um, I don't watch a couple times a year. I'll watch something, but I don't follow anything. I
Wasn't
That
there a
was the
time period recently that you did, like you were caught up on? I don't know how many years ago it was, where it seemed like you were at the very least watching every pay-per-view slash PLE that was on Peacock for a
not.
while.
I mean, not really. I mean, around 10 years ago, around maybe 30, I was that's when I was like sort of into it more than any other time in the past, goodness, 30 years now. Um, but how did I get into it was just by accident seeing it on TV. And it wasn't something my parents really loved. Um, that I was watching it, that I was into it. But once I sort of got into it, there was no stopping it, right? And it's funny because I found this air quotes autobiography. So in fifth grade, we had to do our autobiography, right? And it was teach you what an autobiography is about. But it's so funny because you're 10 years old, right? And you know nothing about nothing. But we had to talk about ourselves. And one of the things in that autobiography that I have from when I was 10 was that I liked wrestling. And I said basically, as this 10-year-old, I know it's fake. I know it's all for show, but I get entertained by it. That's sort of the essence of what I said. And so I always knew, because that was a time period, late 80s, early 90s, when you're 10 years old, you might go, oh, this stuff is like, what's really happening here? So from the beginning, I knew it was this sort of, dance of sorts
You knew it was
with people.
fake before they announced it was fake?
Yeah.
Okay.
And and it's funny because I look back and I was like, oh, I don't remember that I knew. I don't remember at what age I knew it was fake, but it always was just something that captivated me. And I think it was because of the bright outfits, the the scary looking people, um, and above all of that, really just good stories, right? And it's no different than watching a season of some other show, and you get captivated for it or captivated by it for periods of time, and then maybe you didn't like seasons 12 through 20 of ER. I don't even know how many seasons there were, but there's parts of it that are going to speak to you and parts of it that aren't, and that's okay. But those sort of stories that they told, especially in that time period, were things that really captivated me. And so, like, my Pop Funkos in my office are predominantly wrestling ones. I have a picture in my bedroom downstairs that is painted faces of like 30 wrestlers from like the late 80s, early 90s, just things like that I really absolutely dig. It's the stories and the characters. That's it. And I remember there was something done by, might have been John Stossel, not one of his earlier pieces, but like mid '90s, where actually I don't think it was Stossel. They were actually just talking about how, um, is this violent? Is it too violent for especially kids? And does violent television like wrestling lead people to be more violent? And at the end of this piece, they said a couple things that I thought were really intelligent. And they sort of said, if you look throughout history, not only have things been violent, but for most of the time in the past, they were legitimately violent. They weren't pretend violence. There were wars. There were, go back to the Colosseum and throwing people in with the lions. That was entertainment. And so if entertainment can be fun and at the end of the day nobody's getting hurt, and I use that term loosely obviously because people get hurt, then wow, that's entertainment.
Yeah, I think that's a
Fewer
very good way to look at it.
and fewer people get hurt than on a set with Alec Baldwin and a loaded gun. So
I don't think that's true. That was one person, and multiple people get hurt with wrestling and die, depending on it. So good job. Missed the mark a little bit, but I got your point. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's funny to me because I still get made fun of today, but I used to care when I was a kid. So during the Attitude Era, everybody will fucking watch wrestling. They were pulling in millions of viewers every time that show aired, and it was around the world that everybody was watching wrestling. And then like once the Attitude Era kind of ended, there like it started to fade in pop culture and then kind of go away and then basically become more like you don't talk about that you're into wrestling unless you find other people that are into wrestling, then you talk to it about with them. Um, and so during those times, besides for like my friends that I knew liked wrestling, didn't really talk to others about wrestling. And then as I got older, I realized who the fuck cares? I'm gonna like what I like, and then just kept watching wrestling or talking about wrestling if somebody asked. But I still get like made fun of to today, which is weird to me because we're at least in the podcast, we're all nerds. So like you we watch Star Wars, we watch Marvel, we have collectibles, we have fucking or they have collectible Legos that they spend hours putting together. I have pretty little belts, that are well, to be fair, they are gorgeous. But so it's weird to still have that mentality of like, hey, that's dumb. It's like really like we're playing D&D, which I love D&D, but D&D is kind of stupid. It's just all in your mind, it's imagination, it's coming up with things and rolling dice and hoping for the best. And again, it's about having fun with your friends. So it's weird that some people can have that mindset. Like I might not enjoy something and I'll make fun of it, but I'll understand how somebody could get enjoyment out of it. And it feels like there are people that just don't understand how you could get enjoyment out of wrestling, even though it's been around forever. Like, well, not forever, but like some form of pro wrestling with traveling circuses have been around for years and years and years and
yeah.
years.
Well, I think there's always I think there's always going to be a hierarchy, for lack of a better term, with nerds, right? Like just like there is everything else. Just like with if you're into sports, then these sports are awesome, but rugby's stupid, or whatever it happens to be, and whatever makes people feel like they um, have some position or some stance that's better than yours that's never going to go away. But it is interesting how there is a sort of hierarchy of nerdiness where some things are okay and others aren't. I have no limits to my nerdiness. I have Rubik's cubes all throughout my house. I have wrestling stuff on my wall. I have horror stuff all over the place. There's just no limit to the geekiness.
Yeah, and I've realized too with my house is for a long time there was nothing ever up on the walls and stuff. And then I was like, I have all this stuff. I like all this stuff. I don't fucking care if nobody else comes over. If somebody else comes over and they don't like it, I don't fucking care. Okay, I'm putting shit up on the walls. And did that, and now like even though I'm a guy, I walk around and don't notice half the stuff that's on my walls most of the time. I'm just getting from room to room. I don't really stop and think. But when I do, I go, okay, those were a cool memory. I remember buying that. I remember hanging that. I remember yada, yada, yada. And it's stuff from when I went to Comic Con. It's stuff from wrestling. It's stuff from, especially in here over that section, that section. It's a bunch of stuff where I went to WrestleMania last year. So like I have a bunch of stuff from there that has been hung up and other stuff that still needs to be hung up. And
Well,
yeah,
and the things you've got are going to be either original or they're going to be something that even if you ordered it, very few people, probably nobody else in Waterville, has on their wall. And to me, what's cooler, even if you don't like what it is on the wall, what's cooler, that or having the same live, laugh, love sign above your kitchen sink that 7 different people on your street have, right? Like, which one of those is cooler? And I think individuality doesn't matter what people are into.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's cool.
if I enjoy it, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But
I
that
agree.
took a while to get there though, because when I was younger, like it definitely it's very hard not to care what people think or to try to fit in certain ways. And when I was younger during the Attitude Era, there was like 8 of us that watched wrestling every time it was on. And that when the Attitude Era ended, a lot of them phased out of watching wrestling. So then, like, the group was very small at that point of like me and one other person. So to go from that of like, okay, I got to either try to figure out anybody else that likes wrestling or just not talk about wrestling, to go from that to, well, screw it, I don't care, I'll talk about it. I talk about it on the podcast because I enjoyed it. I don't care. I still like to this day, which is funny because Anthony, the one who went with me to WrestleMania, like got out of wrestling until I told him we were going to WrestleMania, and since then has been back into it. Especially now that Raw is on Netflix, has been watching it every Monday, and with a girl that he's with, kids that like it now too. So he's like starting the next generation of watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Um, but that it's just hilarious to me to go from that of not really talking about it to being like, yeah, him and I had a goal. Granted, his goal went away because he'd stopped watching wrestling for 20 something years to go to WrestleMania, and then being able to achieve that and go and enjoy, and then him to continue on watching and still enjoying it back like we were kids. It feels, I don't know. There's some type of feeling I can't put my word on what it feels like, besides for it feels good. And it might just be that nostalgia part of me or the kid part of me that kind of goes like, hey, remember when that's all we used to do and talk about when we were kids? And yeah, to see it like come out again was great. Especially so I know because you were supposed to go initially before life happened, or at least that was the original thought. I know if you would have went, I think you would have enjoyed it right away. And with him, it was an enjoyment right away because he was out of his comfort zone. He knew what was going on the last couple of months of wrestling, but he didn't know like all the people or everything. So it's funny because if you go through the pictures, you can kind of see his transformation of being like, okay, I feel a little awkward and I'm not really sure about this. I'm kind of doing this because KJ wants to do it, but I also kind of want to do it. To then being like the second night of WrestleMania and he's fucking singing every song of the people that come out, holding up his NWO title that he got signed by Hogan, to all this other shit that just it's completely night and day from where he started to where he is only in a couple days of just being surrounded by thousands of people that are just there to enjoy themselves. It's its own separate culture that if you can go there and just let go of all your inhibitions and just enjoy it, you're going to have a blast.
You're at a rock concert, right? I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Like it's the same environment, same atmosphere, same sort of thing where let go of the work week, let go of your inhibitions. You're just there to have it's so funny the people you'll see at a rock show like quietly singing along because they don't want to like, oh, singing in front of other people is awkward and weird, right? And it's the same thing. Like you got to let go of that and just enjoy the moment that you're in and be a part of the cool experience. And there when there's 80,000.
I think it was like 79,000 one day, 81,000 the next.
So I was a pretty. Come on, if we're going to split the difference
Yeah,
between
80,000 is pretty good.
79 and 81,
That's pretty
I
good.
think that's pretty good with saying 80,000. Wow, tough crowd today. No matter
Yeah.
what I do, I can't be right. Wow, this seems familiar. Uh, so 80,000 people though that are all sharing, that are all there for a common purpose, a shared interest. Everybody is there for that same experience. That's got to be a cool thing. I've never been in anything even close. I mean, not even in the ballpark, right? At most, a concert with maybe, I don't know, 6,000 people, something like that.
Yeah. But
80,000
but
though.
even
Wow.
even 5 to 6, you feel a certain way because usually it means like a venue is full.
Yeah.
And like I've been to because it was at the Eagles Stadium, and I've been to two or three Eagles games at this point, and so it's filled when you go to an Eagles game. Like there is not an empty seat really. So you're there, and it's like 40 or 50,000 people. But then when they add all those seats to the floor, because you're basically this ring gets set up at like the 50-yard line, and they're adding thousands of more seats to it, yeah, then you get up another like 30,000. So I kind of felt a bit when you're at the 80,000 or when you're at like the 50,000 for the football, but 80,000 is completely different because even though when you're at a football game, it's very tribal in the sense of my team's better than your team, fuck your team. And even though it's mostly the Philadelphia Eagle fan there, you still have the other population. Maybe it's like a 60-40, 70-30 split. When you go to wrestling, even though you'll have the good guys and the bad guys, and some people will cheer the bad guys and boo the good guys, whatever it is, everybody's there for the common interest of wrestling. Even though everybody's there for the common interest of football, it's different and more tribal. Sure. And when you get this, everybody's just there to have a good time. And everybody's rocking usually all of the merch that they've bought, either that they've had forever or just bought there. And yeah, to get that many like-minded individuals, I don't think it's something that I'll probably ever get to experience again unless I go to another Mania or something else like a SummerSlam or Royal Rumble where they do it in a giant stadium. But yeah, it was night one. It's funny because it was cold, so it wasn't as electric. It had its moments of being electric, especially during the main event, Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. But that second night, when it got warmer and people got to enjoy themselves more, yeah, it was electric from the moment of the opening bell all the way through the end of the night. It just, things were hitting way better because the crowd was way more into it. And then especially the main event with it, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, and then the cataclysmic spots at the end where Solo came out and Jimmy Uso came out and Jay came out and Solo came out and Cena came out and The Rock came out, and then, oh my God, The Undertaker coming out. The crowd erupted. I haven't heard like that type of decibel levels in my life, even over like fireworks and shit right next to your head. It was insane, that pop, and I was one of the people screaming. Even though it should have been Austin, let's be clear, it definitely should have been Austin. Would have made more sense with their history, but it was amazing to see Taker and him to do the chokeslam on The Rock, and then for the final, Cody Rhodes gets his moment, which is great. But yeah, electric type of moment that 80,000 people. Like, I think it still would have been kind of cool in like a 5 or 10,000 seat arena, but 80,000 people going bananas was something else.
That's wild. That's wild. That's awesome that you got to experience it. Yeah, I would have been psyched to go, but of course, it was just sort of the place that I was entering in my life. It would not have been prudent for me to spend that time away. But I can't tell you what it meant that you wanted me to go with you, because that just meant a lot, because I'm sure we would. I'm not getting choked up. That's actually just I don't cry that easily. Good God. But no, it meant an incredible amount to me that you wanted to go, because I'm sure we would have had a blast. But sometimes the timeline just doesn't work out the way we hoped it would.
Well, especially because you were going through stuff at the time that I didn't know about until much later. Yeah. That it was also like, I can't believe he doesn't want to go. What a bitch. All right, well, fuck him. I guess I'll get somebody else to go. Yeah. And then to talk to you afterwards and be like, shit, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. And to be like, damn it, I wish like timelines would have been a bit different, and it would have been easier. But that being said, if I ever go to another one, I will gladly invite you to either a Mania. Like, the next one I really want to do is a Rumble, but that won't be for a few years. But like, the Rumble's another one of those. I finally crossed off Mania out of my list. Like, watching a Rumble, especially if it's a 2-day Rumble and you get like the women's on one day and the men's on the other.
So you can skip the women's and just go to the men's?
No. Just so you don't have to like count down, because I mean the Rumble is like an hour something match. Then you're gonna get a couple filler matches. Then you got another Rumble. If we could do, 4 or 5 matches and then the Rumble, and then the next day 4 or 5 matches and then the Rumble, like you get to count down and be excited about what's gonna happen. And not to mention, there's something about, I couldn't imagine. I don't know how many years ago it was now, where they had like the 9-hour WrestleMania. Like, from the pre-show to the end of it was like 7 to 9 hours, somewhere in that range. And it was painful to watch at home because I was so fucking tired and just drained from wrestling. Splitting it up over those days, because we did SmackDown on Friday and the Hall of Fame Friday night, and even the Hall of Fame dragged ass, even though the Paul Heyman speech was probably the best speech I've ever seen at the Hall of Fame. But then right after him, like it was just miserable the rest of it. Then Saturday doing NXT in the afternoon, followed by night one of WrestleMania. Sunday, nothing besides for night two of WrestleMania, and then Monday going to Raw. Like you have enough break to basically get back in the right mindset of enjoying yourself rather just being like, okay, I really hope that they keep me up for this long for like 9 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about a Rumble. If you don't have a good Rumble, like if that first Rumble sucks and then I got to go through another few matches to get to the next Rumble, I'm already going to be dead. Like I'm just going to not care.
Well, hopefully you'll get to live your dream, my friend, of getting to a Rumble at some point.
I mean, I did Mania, and I never thought that would happen, so I assume the Rumble will happen.
I mean, you're Mr. Moneybags over here.
I don't have the kid like some people, or the divorces like some people.
Whoa! Hold on now. I happened upon those.
I happened upon those.
You say that like I planned it, or even worse, like I have some culpability in this situation. My good God, happened upon him.
So if anything, maybe not the first one, but the second one, I feel like even though you were like, "Hey, everything is great, everything is grand," I think in the back of your mind you're like, "That first one went very badly. When does the second one go very badly?" Like I'm gonna do everything in my power to not have it go badly, but like it's probably gonna go badly at some point.
I didn't. So I know. All joking aside, and I didn't. I was just playing around. I didn't mean this turned into a therapy session. No, all joking aside, I didn't. I actually thought I would be. I thought I'd be married for the long haul.
Well, she was significantly younger than you too, so she could have taken care of you when you were in your 90s and like just wiped the sweat off your brow.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't believe everything happens for a reason. I don't believe in fate. I sure as hell don't believe in any fictitious, omnipotent, omniscient character up in the sky. But I do believe you sort of got to make the best of what you're dealt, right? And so this has actually been a really, really cool time in my life. And I'm not just saying that because I'm like old and playing with my guitars all day. It's like, oh, fun. There's nobody to bother me. Because being a single dad to a 3-year-old is like insane, right? But it's the coolest thing ever. Like it's absolutely the coolest thing. And like this whole period is just this is the best period so far. This is the best period so far.
I mean, that's a good thing. And it's funny because I think when we first started talking, when I first started working there, the kid thing wasn't even in your head. Like really, I was like, yeah,
didn't want one.
Yeah,
it was in my head. I didn't want one.
Sure, I meant of the wanting one wasn't in your head. It was the opposite. Yes, it was the no, fuck no, never gonna happen type of thing. To see your transition from that to, like, I see your post and we talk and just your happiness level of just any time spent with the kiddo is not what I was expecting. And maybe it is because you're older, and I think that is part of it. Because some people, when they have them, when they're younger, kind of resent that because they can't do whatever they wanted. You did whatever you wanted for the most part for 40 years. And now you can now experience this little kid and give them all the attention and everything else they deserve without feeling like, oh, I'd really like to do blank by blank by blank by blank.
Yeah. And I couldn't have done it when I was younger, you know. Again, it's almost 6 years now of sobriety, and I would have messed up so many things if I were messed up. Yeah. Being a parent and like being at this stage of my life and being older, being, I guess, a little wiser, hopefully. It's cool. It's totally cool. It is exhausting though. And when I see people running in the morning, there's a stupid amount of people that run in Wilton and I want to hit them. I
it
just
is around the lake. It's very nice, so I get it.
I just want to hit them. Like, what are you doing in the morning with that much energy?
So that being said, I've started the last few weeks, which granted I've been working out Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at my buddy's house at like 7 p.m. But our schedules is now all screwed because he's got baseball with his kid, and I've got my girl now. So and she's got kiddos that have things. So like the schedule is just all fucked. So we started working out at 5:30 in the morning, which
Ooh,
I'm yeah, it's very early and it's working out. But I will say there's something about getting something accomplished so early that the rest of the day when you're working or you're doing something else you feel like you've already accomplished something and usually your brain is firing more because you've already been active. um, so I will say there's something about it. I don't like ever being up that early because I'm also a person that doesn't go to bed early, so I'm usually in bed at like midnight and then up at 5, which sucks. But there is something about getting up and doing something and feeling accomplished for the day, no matter what else happens.
yeah. I I used to, like, right before I met you, and hired you and gave you the opportunity that turned into all the opportunities that you've gotten over the years. So I feel like some money kickbacks annually.
Motherfucker, how many
Are
titles have I gotten you?
all right. Hold on, never mind. Hey, let's not let nobody's keeping score here. Uh, I used to work out at 5:30 in the morning, and then I'd get on the road by 6 to be down in Waterville when I worked down there. So I know exactly the feeling that you're talking about, and it actually gives you a good boost of energy in the morning that you don't get from anything else.
Yeah,
You
the
can,
dopamine and the endorphins.
yeah, you can really ride that for a good portion of the day. So kudos to you, man. I'm really happy to hear that you're doing that for yourself. It's really
Yeah,
good.
and it's also good to have somebody else with you. So if there's like a day I'm dragging ass or he's dragging ass, the other one's like, no, let's fucking go. Let's do this. So far,
Accountability.
yeah, accountability is big, especially if you can't count on yourself. Like there's some days I can count on myself, and then there's other days where I go, God, I hope he's going to pull me out of this because I don't want to do anything today. And that if for whatever reason it's so far has worked where he's on the days that he's off, I'm on, and the days that I'm off, he's on. And it's like, nope, shut up. Like we got a poster that says shut up, no bitching, yada yada yada. So that's a bunch of other stuff. But like we just keep pointing to the sign and then keep doing what we got to do. And it's good, but it also sucks.
It sounds like it's actually the most functional relationship you've ever had.
I know it is. It's something. Um, but no, and I didn't we like for a while weren't we working out in the mornings doing yoga?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did the DD
Not
pull.
together, not together. I don't want
I was
any
together
of
in
the
my
three
mind.
listeners. I don't want any of the three people that listen to this to two of them already tuned out. That's what you said, five earlier. I think we're down to
Yeah,
three.
it's true. We've lost
Wouldn't
people.
wouldn't want anybody to think that we were getting all steamy together. Yeah, we were doing the yoga thing for a bit. And man, and I remember one day you came into work on like a Monday and you were like, yeah, yesterday I walked 10 miles. And I thought you were just being stupid. And you had walked the Pond Road, right? You went down Wilton all the way Pond Road out to Weld Road. Like you just walked and
Yeah, so
walked.
that's like a 7 mile loop, and then I walked for another 3 miles. Like I walked another mile and a half from my house, and went, okay, I'm coming back, and that'll get me 10 miles. I just recently did 14 or 16 miles, but that was because I was competing with my buddy because we were whoever walked the most, the other person had to be the drink bitch for the night. So we like hung out that following Saturday and had a bunch of people over, and the person that lost, which was not me, had to make drinks the entire night for the other person. So he got to be my drink bitch because he walked like 14 miles. And I think I walked 16 miles. And I felt it afterwards, but I don't like if I'm in a competition, I don't like losing. So if it's something that I can actually do, I'm going to just keep doing it. And I spent so much time walking, and I have a walking pad, so I was doing some of that, but then I just said screw it and started walking outside so I get fresh air, and I just didn't stop. So I have those moments, but I've also on the other side of that, again, another credit to Corey. I went for like an 8 mile walk years ago, and it was so fucking hot out, and I didn't bring any water, and I got to like mile 7, so it's like a mile, maybe two away from my house, and I thought I was gone. Like everything wasn't working. Like my legs weren't working. My mind wasn't working. I was able to call Corey, and he just jumped in his car and came and got me with some water and some ice packs. But yeah, I won't do that again. Like you got to know your limits. And when I did it the other day, I knew where my limit was and knew that if worse came to worse, I could just use the walking pad inside. But yeah, that one wasn't a fun one. But yes, I remember that too. That 10-mile walk around the lake. I did that lake walk numerous times, but I only did the 10 miles once.
Makes you sound like Jesus. I did the lake walk
The lake
numerous
walk.
times.
To be fair, that would be a quicker walk if I could just walk across the lake.
It'd be totally quicker.
It's all about the practicality. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss too, because it just popped in my head, was the do you
So
remember,
did you really want to discuss it? It just popped in your head. You're like, oh, I wanted to do this, but it just popped in my head. Which one of those things is true?
I had it written
Quit your
down.
line.
I had it written down of what some things that we might talk about, and then I forgot about it until you were just talking about you're the one who hired me. And then do you remember the interview?
I remember that I told you to tuck in your shirt and wear a damn tie.
That no.
You basically had
At the end you said that. Yes.
you basically had the job because I liked your experience. And one of the things I really liked was that you called when you were late because you were lost and you weren't afraid to say like, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that sort of thing about people, right? Like just being honest, because I think you know me well enough. I don't like anything like fake or pretentious or people thinking that they're better, or any of those things. And so you just going like, I got lost. Where am I going? Was totally cool to me.
Fucking right
And
across the road from you, and I was like, I don't know where I am. Somebody help! Hey, you know that big red building behind you? Yeah, we'll go in there and go to the third floor. Oh, okay, sure. Like,
yeah,
you gotta be humble about shit. Like, you don't have to. I wasn't gonna lie to you, especially when I was the one who made the stupid mistake. I'd be like, oh no, I just car broke down or yada yada yada. Like, no, just own the shit, and you're either gonna like it or not.
Yeah, I think I wrote down zero spatial skills. No, but no, it was more of knowing what your experience was and that, and then just sort of meeting you in the first couple of minutes and your demeanor. It was more of an offer than it was a. I know you had to still have the follow up interview, but it was more of an offer than it was anything else.
So, I mean, that was good to hear, but it's not what I was going with this. Do you remember where we did the interview?
Yeah,
Steve's office?
yeah, the room with the sand tray and all that. Yeah.
Yes, and I remember making that joke about something like me being a little bit weary of doing like this stuff in this office with the sand, and you making a comment like, I'm not big enough, or I'm not so mature, or something like that, where I won't roll up my sleeves and start making sandcastles. You made some comment like that that completely put me at ease of knowing, okay, I think I'll be fine working here. That's before the other terrible joke where I knew that we could get along at a more outside of work level. But just in the sense of working here, the fact that you didn't take yourself so seriously, the fact that you had hair and you had an earring, looked like a rocker a bit, but yet looked professional, like attire, but the face did not match it. It looked like you were doing this so that you could go jam with your band on the weekend. And I was just like, all right, this might be okay. And then you made the joke, and I was like, okay, I'm more at ease now. I can answer any question and go from there.
That's cool. That's cool to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always believed more, as you know, in the informal thing, yielding better results than anything else. I've been to a few interviews over the years, even though I've sort of been in the same place forever. And I always hate formal interviews. Like they don't, to me, I should say, they don't yield results at all. Like I want to get to know an actual person, right? And also when you get people relaxed is when they say stupid stuff that you go, oh, I don't want to hire this person. So I always believed in that. But no, hey, if I made a joke that was actually appropriate for an interview to make you feel comfortable and at ease, that's pretty cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I also remember lying to you. I think it was during that interview, lying to you about like the wage. of like how much I was making. And to be fair, you underpaid the shit out of me compared to what that job could have paid. But it was still significantly more than I was making working for the family business making
Yeah.
thing. And I remember lying, saying it was this amount, and you just agreeing to it and being like, me being like so fucking happy. And then you were also the person. So the other story that I have about us at Care Comfort was when you gave me my raise, which I don't know if you remember or not. But you,
Did I call you in and put you in the hot seat?
yeah. So I got my degree, and then it was like 2 months after that, and your office and mine are not far apart. They weren't far apart. It was my office, a little bit of like a 5 footsteps, and then it's your office. Um, and you called me from your office instead of just walking over to my office and being like, "Hey, I need you to come in here." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll be right there." Which was weird. I think you've only ever done that a couple other times, and it wasn't about bad stuff, but it was a very rare occurrence that you wouldn't just walk over to my office. Um, so I come to your office, I open the door, and you're like, "Hey, shut that." And I was like, "Okay." So I still don't think I'm in trouble yet, but maybe he's about to tell me some gossip, or he's going to tell me a joke that he shouldn't be telling me. Um, and then I shut the door, and you just look at me, and you're like, "You got to learn to keep your fucking mouth shut." And my face, I don't know how it looked, but I felt like it went white. And the only thing going through my head is, don't say anything. Oh my God, don't say anything. You can talk yourself out of this. You don't know what he knows yet, so let's hear what his issue is, and then we will try to explain. Because Joe, this might have been the only time Joe has ever yelled at you. So let's figure this shit out. And then you like pushed a piece of paper over to me, like in the fucking movies. And we're like, because that's your new wage. And then you just immediately started laughing. Um, it's such a dick move, funny, and it was great. And now it's a great story. But my God, my heart was going so much, and I was just like, don't say anything, because if he doesn't know I fucked this up, I don't want to tell him and then get more trouble. Like, let's just see what he knows or doesn't know.
I have very little recollection of that, so I'll go with your. I'll put the stamp of approval on your version of it, because I'm sure that probably is how it went. But
There's a
I like.
follow up to that too.
Oh, okay.
You went home for lunch and you made your stupid ass veggie burger, and you come back to work and you're like, we were talking about something. You're like, "Hey, yeah, I just did lunch and I did my veggie burger. And while it was cooking, I remembered what I just did to you and lost it laughing." And I was just like, "You're such a dick." You're like, "Yeah, I just went home for a few minutes and I just started thinking about it and how funny it was."
That's great. That's great. You know, all in all, pretty bad taste.
Oh no, it was great. It was
But
great.
but for the relationship you and I had, it was probably it was perfect. I'm going to
Oh
say
yeah.
it was perfect.
I wouldn't
So
recommend doing that to somebody you didn't have that relationship with. So like that's an HR call real quick.
yeah,
Um,
no, we just had sort of that thing. So
hey, make jokes and make me scared and funny and laugh. I'm all about it. Yeah. And again,
uh,
you're not a person, at least to me. I've never been yelled at by you except for then. Even as friends, even as you're my boss, it was literally only that moment for that brief period of time. So everything, I don't know how many things went through my head in that short amount of time, yet I felt like I had 1,000 different thoughts of trying to process what was going on because it was so abnormal. And then again, not wanting to get myself in more trouble.
yeah, I'm not a very animated person, right? This is about as excited as I normally get on
I
a
was
daily
gonna say,
basis. This is it.
I think one
So
of the reasons the prank on you with the office worked so well is because you did get animated. Like
yeah.
that laugh and that visceralness of the laugh and the gut wrench, and then you being like, "Well, you better get some fucking bags because now I gotta clean it."
Yeah, yeah. It takes a lot to get me animated, but once I do, yeah, I have that video. I occasionally watch it. I show it to people. It's so good, and that might have been the last time that I felt genuine joy in my life. So,
I'm pretty sure you had a kid since then, so I really hope that's not the case.
you know, one thing I'll tell you about having a kid is everybody told me, "Oh man, when you hold that kid, Joe, when you hold that kid, it's the greatest. It's the culmination of everything that you've ever worked for in your life. It's going to be the greatest moment of your life. You know, you look in their eyes, you know everything has changed. After everything I've already told you about my daughter and the depth of my love for my daughter, I've changed everything that I could in life. I'm doing it to try to make things good for her. And I looked at that little girl when she was born, and I was like, the fuck do I do with this thing?
It's
What the
funny
fuck is
you
this?
say that because there are so many people that I know, all guys, because they obviously didn't, they weren't pregnant with the kid. Now there are some guys I know that say that it was instant, but most of my close friends go, I don't know what to do with this blob. And it isn't until they like start having any type of personality that that's when the connection actually happens, at least for them. And it sounds like you were the same way, where you'll love them and you'll probably do anything for them, but it's not the same as when they start having a personality and you start to connect to them, because you don't have that initial connection usually like the mom has because you didn't birth the kid.
It's almost verbatim what I always say. It's the personality. And it was like, even at 6 months, you can start to see, I mean, you can very much see some personality. You just don't know
Sure.
what it is or what it
Yeah.
means. But by the time she was a year old, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I still needed to learn a lot about being a
Sure.
parent, but I was hooked. And now it's like, I I know you can't be friends with your kids. Like I'm very much a parent with my child, very much a parent. I have very high expectations in this house. Uh, but it's almost like my best friend when she goes to spend a couple days with her mom. I'm like, well, what do I do? Like this feels my buddy's gone, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Um,
how it feels.
so my buddy Matt now has four kids. They just had their fourth because he's crazy. Um,
Do they know? Do they know there's like a condom aisle? Are they
she
have they
wants more. Yeah, she wants more. This is all the
You
people that
can
have.
get them ribbed. It's still going to feel good for her. Like she can look.
It doesn't feel good for her anyway. She just wants the kids. But they have four dogs and cats and chickens and goats. Like she just like they have all this stuff and she just wants more kids and it is what it is. But anyway, every single kid he has felt the same way, especially like his first, and he loves his first. But when we were first there, because I went to the hospital when she had the kid for the first one, and we were talking, he's like, "I love this kid, but one, it was an ugly baby because his head was got contorted when it was coming out." He's now just a very cute kid, but at the time he wasn't. And both Matt and I admitted, like, that's an ugly baby. Um, and then, so he didn't immediately have that thing that other people have. They're like, oh, they're the most gorgeous thing in the world. No. And then he's like, there was nothing there. And he's had that for every single kid. And the new one's just only a couple weeks old now. So I'm sure it'll be the same for that one. But it wasn't until like the 6 month to the year thing where it started feeling like, okay, this is a person now. It's not just a blob. It's not just something. There's something there, some type of connection. And I mean, again, that's four kids or three kids, and probably this fourth one coming. So yeah, I know exactly where you were going to go when you were talking about it because it's. I feel like that's very, very common.
Yeah, the more I've talked to people, I think the more it is. There's also like this social pressure to look at a child as being an immediate life-changing thing, right? Like what kind of a monster wouldn't feel immediate like love and just this affection for this child? Well, a lot of friggin' people. But
Yeah,
what else are you going to say? Like a lot of people don't want to say the truth, which is I didn't really feel much. I felt like it had been a long day. But
and you had gone through a lot yourself, huh?
I had been traumatized. Uh, you know, but no, I don't mean to look, I had the easiest job in the room that day. I don't mean that, but I just mean like you've got all these feelings, but to me they weren't like it looked like a baby.
Yeah,
Like my daughter, she had eyes, she had a nose, she looked like a baby, right? And that's about it.
yeah,
They could have swapped her with literally any other child. And if they brought it back, I'd be like, that's a baby. That's a baby. Like yeah.
yeah.
Now
Oh,
I
I get
look
it.
at her I look at her and I can tell, okay, she looks identical to me, right? Like she's a mini me. They didn't swap her at the nursery
I
unless
feel like you guys looked more alike before she had hair. Got the bald head, the no facial hair, spitting
what
image
you seem to be obsessed with my bald head.
with your chrome dome.
Yeah.
It used to be the rocker hairstyle.
I had the messy hairdo, right? I had doing the messy hair thing, and I'll tell you, there's two reasons for the change because you always bring it up every time we talk, whether it's through text, Facebook Messenger, any time that we talk, you're always bringing up the bald head.
It's easy fodder.
Two reasons for it. Number one, you probably don't remember this while we're telling
Walking down the stairs.
Yeah, so I decided to cut my hair really short because I'd been feeling like I was thinning back there, and it was, but it wasn't as it was noticeable to me because I was like trying to like hold a mirror in 7 different ways. I'm like, oh, I'm balding back there. What's going on? I don't know. Nobody else probably could see it, but once I cut my hair like really short, like I went with like I don't want to say a buzz cut because that sounds so military-ish, but like I just cut my hair like really short, and you're like, why'd you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And we were sitting in my office shooting the shit. We go down the stairwell. You're behind me. And you're like, oh, that's what you were talking about with your thinning hair. And I was like, all right, well, that just sealed the deal. We're shaving this thing tonight. So actually, indirectly, your comment helped me to
Get your
to
new
that
look.
point. Well, and then the other
Like
thing was,
Luther.
you got to keep in mind, like 90% of the people who know me now, other than family, are like they have difficulty imagining me with hair because it's been like 5 years or whatever,
Well,
right? So
do you remember what I used to have at Karen Comfort for facial hair?
goatee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people think of me in a goatee and they don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
they can't envision it. Because now I've had the beard now for years and years.
Yeah.
So I get that. I'm also glad that I could help with your new look. I'm glad that a comment stuck with you enough. It's also funny because if you would have walked down in front of behind me, never would have made the comment. You just happened to be in front of me, and we just happened to be talking about it. I think because it was so new that you got the haircut that it was just like, oh, it's right there. I see. Okay, I get it now.
But I always appreciate that sort of like honesty too, because that is what I like depend on as a as a friend. And most people look at you and you ask them, oh, like, do I look like I've gained weight or something? Oh no, man, you look fine. I appreciate it when somebody's like, yeah, actually look like you probably put on, I don't know, 5-10 pounds, whatever. Okay, thank you. Like,
I'm gonna be worse than that.
I've slimmed down since
Not you. I'm just saying in general. If somebody asked and they actually have gained weight, I'm gonna say like, yeah, you fat fuck. Jesus Christ, you can't even fit in those pants anymore. And I say this as a fat guy who I expect to hear the same thing from other people. Because I keep like, I've dropped and I gained, I've dropped and I gained, I've dropped and I gained. The story of the fat guy. And I hear it all the time. They're like, oh, you look so good. Or I think you've lost weight. And I was like, you motherfucker, I've gained weight. Fuck off. Or the other way of being like, hey, what the hell happened? Weren't you like down this much? Like, what did you do? And I was like, I ate and I made terrible decisions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've always appreciated your honesty. I hope you continue to do that. It helped me to make a decision that actually I'm very happy with. So
that's been how many? Was that when we were? That wasn't when I was working there. You didn't go bald when I started working there, right?
No.
I just came for a visit.
You came to have lunch one day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have been, I think 2021, I want to say, is when I started shaving my head. Yeah. But it was closer to the end of 2021. Yeah. Because when Harlow was born, I was cutting it much shorter than I was the time you had seen it in the stairwell.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't quite to shaving. And then I was like, you know what?
Have you shown her any pictures of you when you have hair?
Yeah. So I have my mother for for like my birthday or something last year, got me one of those frames that you load the picture, you send the pictures from your phone
Oh, yep.
off to the frame, and it changes pictures. And that's been really cool because Harlow now can have this constant reminder of who some of her relatives are that she doesn't see
Yep.
as often. So that's been neat. And you know, my father died before she was born, so there's some pictures of him on there and whatnot. So like you know, she'll say that's your daddy. Like so she gets some of that stuff. But then she sees pictures of me with hair and she doesn't even like
Just
she
know that I could have made so many jokes right then. I'm just not gonna. Just there's so many jokes there, and I wanted to so badly, but it was your cute little daughter that was like, that's your daddy. Okay, let's move on from that thing, so I don't just keep so many jokes.
I'll transition for you. She no, she sees it and she knows it's me and she doesn't even bat an eyelash at it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure
It's
if
not
like she saw it and be like, "Who the hell is that?"
it's not weird at all for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to go back because I mentioned it, but I'm curious if they're still hung up, if they're still somewhere. So you had belts. I think you have belts before I got you a belt, or was I the first one to get you a belt?
Uh, you were the first person to get
Okay,
me a
and
belt.
since then you've gotten some other belts. Um, at one point they were you thought about hanging them over doors, and then at one point I think they were just like away but not really hung up, and then they were hung up. I think when you go up the stairs, like in
That's where they
that
are.
that's where they still are.
Yep, they're all displayed out there. Yeah. I need to stain those shelves,
Yeah.
but they're bookshelves on bottom and sort of on top. They're a place for me to put them up there. So, you know, I could do something I think nicer again, like staining it or whatnot, which I'll probably do at some point. But yeah, they're displayed there, so everybody who comes in can behold the glory of the
I,
belts.
I still remember getting you the first
One of the
one.
nicest gifts I've ever gotten.
I'm a good person. Um, but yeah, I
Whatever you
remember
got to tell
getting
yourself, brother. Whatever you got to tell yourself.
I remember getting you the first one, and then I think you weren't even at the office. You were fucking in Dover, or you were off, or some shit. And I was like, to pick the time to go so I could give it to you. And then I just left it, I think, on your desk or something.
Yeah.
And then getting a message for you, or calling or talking to you, I don't remember which one it was, but you being speechless. And then I don't consider the gift a level of friendship thing. It was just something I saw and knew you would like, but you were like, I didn't think we were this good of friends. Like, for you to get me a title. And for me, it was just, I saw something and I was like, we talked about this for years. Like, if I ever got a belt, it would be this one. I was in a place financially, especially because it was when I transitioned to the state and got a couple promotions, that it was like, yeah, I'll grab a title. And found the specific one. I don't know how the fuck I remembered it though, because we talked about it like randomly a couple times. Um, and just being like, okay, I think he'll love this. And the fact that you did, it wasn't, I've got gifts for other people where they've been like, I would really like this. And you get it for them and they're just like, oh, that's cool, thanks. And like, that's the end of it. Or if it's a display thing, they don't really display it. Or if they do, they don't talk about it or think about it. But to get your reaction to it was like, okay, anytime I get somebody a gift and I put thought into it, that's what I want. I want, give me the speechless, give me the, I can't believe you did that. I can't, now I'm going to like display this and have this everywhere.
Yeah, I remember that. I think what you did was there was a note on it, a sticky note, if I remember correctly, that said, "Call me before you open this."
Oh yes. Yep, I did.
And so I was on the phone with you as I was getting into it, and I do remember it very well, being literally speechless because I was like, when I say to people, "You shouldn't have done this," I don't mean, "Oh, you shouldn't have done this for me," right? Like I I and I don't mean like, you know, I didn't want you to do this, but it's a very sincere like you I didn't expect I wouldn't have expected you to do this. I would never expect or you know, you shouldn't have is really truly what I mean in that case. And that was what I meant was like um I didn't know how to you can say thank you, but sometimes you don't know how to say thank you in a way that is sort of consistent or commensurate with what somebody's doing for you, right? And so that
Yeah.
was one of those things, because to you it was a gift, and it was obviously there's a monetary cost to a gift, but to me it was sort of a showing of appreciation for something that you remembered that was not.
I'm
It
very
wasn't.
thoughtful, Joe. I
It.
might be
it,
an
it I
asshole.
agree.
I might be an asshole, but I consider myself an amazing gift giver because I remember stupid shit that
I agree.
somebody says, and even to the point now where I've gotten older and I don't remember as much, I started writing shit down. Like I'm with a new girl, we've been together a few months. I already have so much shit written down for like future shit that if unless I blow this up quickly, which might happen, I will remember certain things and be able to like do callbacks to like, hey, remember that random conversation we had and you mentioned this? Well, here you go, type of thing. That's it's always been who I am in regards to friends, loved ones, whatever. And again, there are certain people that react to it in a way where it's like, okay, well, I put in that effort for no reason. Like it didn't mean anything. Then there's times like yours, times like other people where I've gotten them shit where it's just like, holy shit, like, why do you remember this? Why did you do this? You didn't have to. And it's like, shut the hell up. It's great. It's fine. Like, I don't know with, so Anthony, apparently I have a thing about buying people titles. I bought Anthony the Hogan belt. It's the NWO Hogan belt back when Hogan was tolerable. And then he got it signed by Hogan just so we could have that as a collectible. But like getting him that title and seeing his face was fucking great. And then I remember getting another title for my buddy Matt, the hardcore title, which was his favorite title. And like his face, he liked the belt, but it means nothing to him like it did like for me, like it did for you, like it did for Anthony. I know he likes it. I know he has it in his closet and it's kind of displayed, but it's not like out and about, which granted there's 4 kids, so it probably shouldn't be out and about. But it wasn't the same level. I know he loves it and I know he appreciates it, but it wasn't the same type of. I know it's gonna sound weird for me saying like he didn't appreciate it when I know he did appreciate it, but it's just there was something not what I
Impactful.
want, not as what I guess, but it's also one of the things like if I get you a gift, it shouldn't matter how you receive the gift. It's just about giving you that gift. It shouldn't be how you receive it. But in my head, for me to feel better about giving you that gift, I need to feel something. And with you, with Anthony, with others that I've gotten other gifts to, like sometimes you see that, and I like that. It's one of the reasons why when you were going through your tough time, I got you another one of the. Yeah, I mean, it was like this is either going to be for hey,
I remember the conversation. Yeah, yeah.
because it was either going to be for your divorce, like it was going to be a divorce gift, or it was going to be a. I don't remember if you're. I don't remember when that was. I don't know if your birthday was right around the corner, or it already passed, or was on your birthday. So it's either going to be a birthday gift, or this, or some type of other gift. Or, well, you're going through some shitty stuff right now, and it doesn't look like this is going to go well. It's probably going to be over. So here, have a divorce gift.
We know which one it turned out to be.
We do. I know exactly which one it turned out to be. I'm also very glad too, because I mean, that title in and of itself cost a stupid amount of money, but WWE Shop had a glitch going on, and I got that thing for pennies on the fucking dollar. The only reason I did it, and you love Macho Man, and it was only because you told me the stories about your daughter and watching the Macho Man promos with her. That's why that thing was stuck in my head. And so when I saw that, I was like, that's kind of perfect. One, it's an amazing looking case. The title looks great. It comes with all the extra stuff with it. And I was just like, yeah, this is going to be perfect. And he's going through bullshit right now. So hopefully like that'll just be a moment of not feeling like bullshit every time he looks at it.
It was so totally cool. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's awesome. Harlow loves it.
Good.
And I keep the bandana and sunglasses right up there with it. So she'll sometimes want to put on the sunglasses, and she has 2 different era Macho Man stuffies in her bed. Now, just so you know, my entire couch and her entire bedroom, and especially her bed, are just full of stuffies. We have stuffed everything all over this house. Um, but the two Macho Man ones, one's got the cowboy hat, one's got the bandana, so they're different eras, and she absolutely loves. Sorry, cat is trying to climb
They're
things in the
going nuts.
background here. Um, and she absolutely loves them. And so, yeah, we break out the promo videos once in a while. I'll just bust out YouTube, type in Macho Man promos, and we'll watch. And before I know it, she's talking like this. Oh, yeah, yeah. And it's so great, man. Yeah, when she was only like a year and a half old, I'd say, "What does Macho Man say?" Oh yeah, is what she'd say. I think I sent you a video of that. Like
Yeah.
that was part of the thing for when you got that, right? Like that was just so cool to her. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why, again, that stuck in my head because you sent me that and it was just very cute. And it's also you getting the next generation a little bit into wrestling, which I always enjoyed. Like because again, even though I enjoy it as an adult, there are some storylines and certain promotions that are more kid like based, and then there's other ones that are more for our age, or the teens, and then there's some for our age. But when you get a kid into something like that and to have that reaction, it was just so fucking cute and adorable. So that's why it stuck in my head. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, yep, that. So I'm glad that she likes to put on the stuff too and likes the title. Um, yeah. I'm pretty sure I had a condition with you though with buying that title, and I don't think you fulfilled that condition yet.
I just so you know, I think you have several conditions, most of them undiagnosed.
That's hurtful and true.
I think yeah, you said I needed to buy her a belt.
You need to buy her the small belt.
Yeah, so I kind of forgot about that. Again,
Damn you,
I
sir.
was sort of going through something. So I think that's a good reminder. And
I mean, Christmas is coming up in like another 7 months.
she probably does need a belt.
Then
She's
you guys
she's
can
learned
both
she's
rock both belts.
so I haven't even told you she learned how to take a great body slam. She's she's
It's
learned
so funny that you said that because I was like, is he going to tell me she could take a bump?
she's learned how to take a great choke slam. She'll grab onto my wrist. Maybe her favorite move is the Iron Claw, only because she gets to do this before she delivers it. She knows that if I put a sleeper hold on her, she needs to fight for a second before she goes to sleep. Um, she always gets up before the 3 count. So I think I'm doing okay, man.
This is dad of the year shit right here.
She could take a suplex, so she's doing all right with that. Yeah, she'll just say she'll her thing lately was there was something where some wrestling was on and it was Penta that was on the screen. So that's now she's obsessed with him, and so we'll have to put on something and she'll just say, "Oh, can we wrestle?" And so we'll go in on my bed, and of course I'll just stand next to the bed, and she'll want me to give her body slams or whatever, which obviously we do very safely and very gently. But man, she loves it. She
Yeah,
just
that's
absolutely loves it.
that's cool. I
And there's
remember being a kid and with other, because not really my parents, because however that was, but like with friends and doing that of wrestling literally all the time in the backyard, on the bed, on something somewhat soft. To be fair, we did it on the guitar a couple times, which was not a smart move. But then you learn like maybe we don't do it on the guitar. But yeah, just doing that over and over with friends and trying to put on matches or just laughing and doing dumb shit. So I'm glad that you're experiencing that with her too.
yeah, it's a blast, and if anything else, I would have thought like, man, this is going to be exhausting having to give 20 body slams to this kid, but it's really actually great because if we're having one of these weekends like we've been having where it's rainy outside, can't do a lot of things, we go places and we try to get some energy out. But if I do half an hour of that with her constantly, you know, falling down and then having to get back up, that little body having to keep getting back up exerts a lot of energy, right? And
Yeah.
so it works out actually really great as a way to get a little bit of energy out. And man, she just loves it.
That's good.
So
Yeah, again, to me, you're doing something right at this point. If you're gonna listen to Macho Man promos, if you're going to have Macho Man stuffies, if you're gonna watch Penta and be obsessed with him, like you're doing everything right, man. Everything right.
give her a couple of years, she'll be able to have a real conversation with you about this stuff, I'm sure.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Joe. Like I've been wanting to talk to you about just randomly about the podcast stuff and to catch up and everything and just do it all together worked out really well. And the fact that because I was thinking of what I wanted to do for like the third year podcast thing. Because like the first year we did a rewatch of the Batman. I don't even remember what we did last year for a second. We did something. I don't remember what it was. And then I wanted to do something different for the third, and I've been wanting to try to. We've talked about it. I even think like last year a couple times of like trying to like figure out a time to. Do you still want to do the or would you be interested in do the podcast? Yes, I'd be interested, but it depends on time. And then I got busy, and you got busy, and then I forgot. Um, so then having Zoom is definitely a beneficial tool to use rather than needing to be here, even though the podcast studio is better because there are all the titles and everything else.
I bet it is. And I'll still see it someday, I promise
Yeah.
you.
And so I already know a gift that the new girl has gotten me, with because I shouldn't know, but she was laying on my chest scrolling her phone and there was pictures of it. So she got me a new title. Um, that will be probably displayed in the future once I get it. But it's like the newer one that John Cena has. Um, that apparently this special version is supposed to come out till July. But that's she's already checking off so many fucking boxes, buying me wrestling shit. Like, okay, I'm good. I'm good.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you'll be able to see that one too once whenever you visit. But yeah, we'll have to
Are you
plan something in the future. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to shoot the shit with me, reminisce about Karen Comfort, reminisce about you being a horrible person yet also a nice person. And yeah, I just appreciate the time.
hey, are you still using the song I created, the track that I
Oh
created? Is
yeah,
that still
that
the
is. So
podcast?
I did mean to talk about that too. That's also written down. Yeah, you're the one who did, which we show you out in the first couple episodes. But that was 3 years ago now. But yeah, it's still our intro and our outro
Oh,
for
that's cool.
yeah. And I had to obviously manipulate it a bit because it sounded so bad because it came from you. Um, but no, I had to fade it in, fade it out, like that stuff. And but yeah, I still love our thing, and I feel like it's very distinct to us. So if anytime I hear that, I just know it's talking. To be fair, I listen to it a lot because I have to edit these damn things. Um, but yeah, I still have all the tracks that you had sent me when we were going over this.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah,
cool. I'm psyched to hear
yeah.
that. Cool,
Again,
man.
without you, there's no intro music, there's no outro music. I don't have the equipment that I have, which I mean, my bank account probably would have been okay with that. But the sound quality wouldn't be where it was, and I would have been lost trying to fucking read a manual, trying to make things sound okay. So I definitely appreciate your expertise on everything. And again, it was a very short amount of time between when I said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do. Do you have any ideas?" to when you were able to stop by and help me set everything up. Like, I appreciated that you were like so excited about it too. You're like, "Cool, you're going to do this." Well, I know the stuff that you should get, and I know how to hook it up, and I'll plan a day, and I'll come over, and I'll help you set it up. Like, was very much
Yeah.
appreciated. And again, thinking back 3 years, even though fucking this thing does not have a following at all, it's just been a blast to have. And I think in 10, 20 years, because I'm assuming YouTube and things will still be around, or some version of it, to go back to these episodes and like listen and laugh my ass off at some of the stuff that we did, I think is going to be amazing. Or to show it to somebody else to say, like, hey, look how stupid we were.
Yeah.
I think will be an awesome experience, like 10 or 20 years down the line.
Well, dude, thank you for chatting with me. I mean, 2 hours have gone by like in the blink of an eye here because it's just been fun talking. And it's like anytime we go to eat, right? Like we end up looking at our watch going, oh, actually, I think we are supposed to leave like an hour ago,
I was
right?
gonna say, usually with you, it's like I gotta get home to the kiddo. I gotta put her to bed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that, and that's one of the things I. It's one of the reasons why I know that I talked about it a bit ago about the like work friend and actual friend thing. like I couldn't have a 2+ hour conversation with like a work friend. Like you're gonna lose. Most things are superficial, where you're gonna talk about some random stuff and then it just dies and fades, and one of you isn't gonna be interested. But to be able to have a conversation, talk for a couple hours, and then just realize, oh shit, yeah, it's been a couple hours. We've just been shooting the shit, reminiscing, talking, laughing. Like yeah, I hope that this. It's going to sound so girly. Friendship continues, which I assume it will, because we'll talk about random shit here or there. We'll have to plan a time to actually get together so you can see the way this looks now, along with just like grabbing a bite to eat, even though you fucking eat terrible food, you goddamn vegan person.
Dude, it's like I tried to check off the boxes for the types of people that folks hate. Like
You're succeeding.
like bald, sober, vegan, atheist. Like how many things can I check off that are the stereotypical like just
Hearing just that, everybody should think you're such a pretentious little bitch. And it's funny because you're not, and it's you literally do check off all those boxes of someone that you go, oh god, oh that's somebody who I'm gonna have to talk to for an hour or go do an interview with or whatever else, and you're like, oh god, this is gonna be miserable.
And it has been so.
Well, on that note, thank you, Joe. We'll be back next week for some episode. I don't know exactly when this is going to air. It's probably going to air this month when we don't where we won't be recording when I go on vacation. But it'll air sometime this month for our 3rd year special. So thanks again, Joe. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be back next week.